Why do we keep going back to quick fixes, even when we know they don't work? Welcome to the Coach's Hotline. Glucose, grit, and grace. Real talk with coaches, no sugarcoating. How many times have you blamed yourself when really the diet was set up for you to fail? Carbs were never the enemy. The way we pair them is what makes or breaks blood sugar balance. Let me ask you this. Have you ever crushed a diet only to gain it all back?
We're here to help you ditch the diet cycle, stabilize blood sugar, and finally feel at home in your body.
So many women think cravings mean weakness. Really, it's just your body crying out for balance.
Because health isn't about restriction. It's about freedom, energy, and confidence.
Let's dive in.
All right, welcome to our first episode of Glucose, Grit, and Grace. So we thought for our first episode we would get to know each other a little bit more. So with that, I'm just going to kind of throw out a question out there. So, coaches, what was your defining moment in your health and life journey that brought you to where you are today? So, I can go ahead and start if you guys want to.
Go for it.
I guess for me, my defining moment. So I am Elaine. I guess we should kind of introduce ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am Coach Elaine. And for me, my defining moment was a couple of years ago when my husband and I went on vacation, and we flew Southwest. We were going to Florida to enjoy the beach. Went to get on the plane. We were able to get the exit row seat because we had great boarding in line for a good boarding seat, and we were able to get the exit row. So we're so excited. My husband had more leg room. We had more room, and I went to buckle the seatbelt, and I couldn't buckle the seatbelt. But I was prepared. I had brought a seat extender that was FAA approved, so I had the certificate and everything with me. Got out the seat extender, put on the seat extender. Well, then the flight attendant saw me and said, "You cannot have seat extenders or seatbelt extenders in the exit row seats." So I had to move. So half the plane was boarded. I had to get up and move my seat. Let my husband stay where he was at. There was no reason for him to be uncomfortable, and I moved to a seat. So that was kind of my eye-opening moment that I was not on a path to something that was good. So that's me.
That's heartbreaking. I mean, I just have so much angst just thinking of me being you in that situation, and how that had to have how that had to have felt to stand up and leave your seat, because oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Elaine, that you had to go through it.
Well, it was probably first embarrassment, and then then the anger. You're really mad. I was mad at the flight attendant. I'm looking through everything, going, "Where's the rules that says that?" Mm-hmm. But that was probably my eye-opening moment, and probably what saved my life. So.
Wow. We all need those. And I think that we all have them. Mm-hmm. So I'm Coach Elaine, which is different from Elaine just a little bit. So, but my defining moment was about a year and a half ago, when I was having to get a hip replacement. And I'm kind of young to get a hip replacement, but I had a lot of degeneration in my joints from arthritis. But before the hip replacement, I was doing what I thought was a fabulous weight loss program, HCG, where you do, shots and super deprivation, and I lost a ton of weight. But what I didn't realize was happening is that my muscles were wasting away. My hair was falling out, and I was so fatigued that I could not get up after dinner and do the dishes. I just had to go to bed. All my day was spent thinking about when was the next time I could take a nap. And so it was really exhausting me. And when I had to have the surgery, they're like, you really have to get off of this. And I was scared because, get this, the 2 other times I did it before, I gained weight back. And I thought, surely the third time I won't gain my weight back. I know, right?
Third time's a charm, right?
Early. And so I was really nervous to get off of it. And so, but I did because I knew I needed the surgery. And I had a really hard time recovering from the surgery because of my muscle loss and energy fatigue and all of that. So as I was recovering, I knew I needed something different. I could not continue down that path. And yes, of course, I was gaining my weight back because all of a sudden I was eating food again.
Yeah.
And so that's when I found the PFC3 movement. And it made so much sense to me. And for those of you listening, we'll go into it more, but it just makes so much sense to me to think about balancing your blood sugar in order to balance everything else in your life. And when I read that, I was all in. I'm like, this is what I've never done before. This is what I need.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I can really resonate with that, Elaine. I would say that if you had to title my dieting story, you would call it Extreme Dieting 101. I absolutely did the HCG drops with the 500 calories a day. Gained that weight back. Funny. And I also did it several times. In fact, I did all of the diets I've done several times. The final extreme that I went to was having gastric bypass. And I was so far like gone mentally and just so down in the dumps. I thought I have to do something extreme and I deserve for it to be this. And it wasn't deserve in a good way. It was like, I have been so mean to my body that I owe my body this. And really felt like that surgery was the only answer. And at the same time, truly felt like it was going to fix me. And I lost about 120 pounds, which sounds great, except that it was truthfully not unlike the HCG drops because I wasn't eating.
Right.
And my body was wasting away. I was very fatigued. The hair loss and all of these things that I was in several bariatric groups and they're like, oh yeah, the hair loss, that's totally normal. Okay, it is when you don't eat. But it's not actually normal for being healthy. And then when I started to gain the weight back, I was like, okay, I failed at the most extreme thing I can possibly think to do. I don't know how I'm ever going to get out of this. And that was crazy defeating. And, I considered having revision surgery, but again, that didn't fix anything. And it just put me back to where I was. And I wasn't successful on the thing that was supposed to not be able to be fallible. And I'm so thankful that I found the blood sugar stabilization lifestyle of PFC3, because you're right. It is different than anything else we've ever done. And it really puts eating and mindset in such clear perspective. It's definitely not easy to make a lifestyle change, but I will say that this is the most ease-filled thing that I've ever done to be healthy.
It's been life-changing.
It truly has.
Can we chat a little bit about mindset? Because all of us have said things where we felt like a failure and we felt unworthy and we felt, like we were the problem. What kinds of things did you struggle with mindset before you started on this journey to get healthy?
For me personally, I think it was right in line with why I needed to have, because when you do gastric bypass, you can choose between the sleeve and the actual bypass, and the bypass is more extreme. There's more things that are done. And I I punished myself with that surgery. And so really having that mindset, not only that I was doing things wrong, and that I wasn't deserving of something good, but that I also needed to be punished for it, which can be a really scary mindset, which, I also think is why it didn't really seem very extreme when I was doing these extreme diets, because they were supposed to make me healthier, AKA skinny.
Right.
And so even just that mindset right there, so dangerous, and led me to all of the different choices that I've made throughout my dieting career that started when I was about 10.
Yeah. I think for me, it was the guilt. So kind of being a failure and being guilty about being a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I have a sister who was always thin. She always had the nicest legs. Okay. She had long legs. She was tall. I'm short. I was squatty. So I felt like I was a failure. I knew I was never going to look like my sister. I was not going to have her height, but I felt like I was that squished version. So I was squished, I was wide, and I was a failure. I was not going to ever be the suave, it was all about looks. So, and again, like you said, Amber, it started early, probably around the age of, I want to say 10, 11. I was at diet workshop with my mom trying to figure out how to lose the weight. And when the weight wouldn't come off, they put me on chicken and cantaloupe for every meal for 2 weeks. Yeah. So, you're bound to lose weight, but at the same time, it's like, you can't live on chicken and cantaloupe. Being someone who's in school, I packed my lunch and every day was chicken and cantaloupe, everybody else had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Not that that was healthy, but then it kind of points you out as being different. Mm-hmm. So then you even feel more like a failure. So I think that failure mindset was really strong for me.
Mm-hmm. In comparison too.
And sure. Oh, absolutely. Comparison. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So for me, my biggest mindset was that I hated my body. I was so mad at myself and my body because of what I thought it wasn't doing for me. And there's a lot of stuff, and in my 30s were really rough on my body, where I had a lot of miscarriages. We had a son that was born and died 2 weeks later from a heart defect. And so there was just, I had 2 tubal pregnancies and almost died. So there was a lot of trauma on my body. But all of that trauma turned into my body's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not doing what I want it to do. Mm-hmm. So then I was very mad about having all this pregnancy weight and no children to show for it. So I, would exercise and diet out of punishment for myself, kind of like what you said, Amber, where I would do cardio because I hated my body and I wanted it to be different. Mm-hmm. And I would do, I didn't really do strength training back then in the 1900s.
So long ago, doesn't it?
I know. But, and I would diet and deprive. And then when it didn't work the way I thought it needed to, then I would, I'm just going to eat cake anyway, because nothing's working. Yeah. I can look at a salad and gain weight. So I'd much rather have cake on my mouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so everything that I did was out of hatred for my body. Mm-hmm. And that has changed as my mindset has changed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's changed.
Yeah. That now I learned to, and there's this one line in the beginning of the 100 Days of 1% that talks about your body's not working against you. It's trying to keep you alive. Mm-hmm. And when I read that, I thought, oh my goodness, I have put my body through a lot and it's still here and it's still trying to keep me alive. And that was changed my mindset, and it changed my life, because everything that I've done from then on out has been out of love for my body. Oh, so how about you guys? Did you guys have that moment where you realized your mindsets were changing?
Yes. I'm not sure if I have like a moment that is, quite as like stark as yours. But gradually over time, I would make a decision and go, huh, I wouldn't have made that decision a couple of months ago. And then that was kind
Yeah.
of like well, that's kind of cool. My mindset's changing, and so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's attributed to the 1%, it's like you're not making these big drastic changes and expecting like worlds to shatter, but you are making these little consistent habits and mind shifts every day. And it just starts to organically show up in the way that you show up.
Yeah. It's that magic.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, Elaine, magic.
Yeah. I think for me, it wasn't necessarily something that I saw. It was something my husband saw and let me know. He had mentioned to me, he goes, since you've been doing this, you have so much more confidence in yourself. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I don't understand. And he kind of gave me some examples. He goes, you're not afraid to go places anymore. You're willing to join in, and all of that was a mindset shift because I was more than content to sit on the sidelines and just watch. So it was kind of interesting when he brought that up because kind of like what you said, Amber, I didn't really notice it.
Yeah.
But the fact that he brought it up and when he said that my confidence was so much better than it had been in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
It was eye-opening and it made me feel good. It's like, oh, and somebody else was noticing, So it made me feel good from that respect.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, when every diet that I've ever been on has never talked to me about my mindset.
Right.
And so that's where, that coaching component I think is so critical.
Yes.
Because when you have a coach that not only is saying, hey, this is, the way that you balance your blood sugar with food, but can also hear those limiting beliefs that they once had and have now moved past it and they have that understanding, I think that makes it really powerful. Elaine, would you talk a little bit about you coaching people with mindset and kind of how you got into the coaching component since after that evolution?
Yeah. So when I had that evolution, I was like, women need to hear this
Mm-hmm.
because so many of us beat up ourselves and we beat up our bodies.
Yeah.
So, so I got certified to do this because it was so life-changing for me. So I work with women who deal with autoimmune disease mostly, just because that's a lot of my own personal experience. And I've seen how much balancing your blood sugar can help with managing your autoimmune symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm finding is that when women with autoimmune disease come to me, they feel broken.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they are wrong, that everything that they thought their body should do, their body's not doing. So they're frustrated. They're overwhelmed because there's so much information out there about what you should do and what you should not do. And so much of it is conflicting. So when women come to work with me, they are tired and frustrated and overwhelmed and pretty much at the end of their rope because they just want to feel better. So, and I've learned that they can, when they leave me, they're a lot happier.
It's a great feeling, isn't it?
It is. It is. It
Yeah.
is. How about you, Elaine? What's your
For me, I initially got into the coaching just because I wanted to learn more about this. This was so life-changing for me. I thought, I want to understand this more. I want to understand more about the science and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I enrolled in the coaching. But then when I got into the coaching, it's like, I have to share this with other people. I have to let them know. I mean, I'm probably the oldest one in the group. I work with a lot of people who are grandparents who may or may not be working. But I've also been working recently with a lot of people who are pre-diabetic. Now, keep in mind, we're talking a lot about blood sugar stabilization. But when you even get to that pre-diabetic stage, your blood sugars have already been unbalanced for probably 10 years before that.
Yeah.
So the fact that you can even bypass pre-diabetes, before you get to diabetes, to me is just so empowering for the people who learn that and understand what's going on. And that's what finally decided that I really needed to coach and I needed to teach other people about this, because everyone in my family, my immediate family, was diabetic. And actually on that vacation I talked about, I also found out that my brother, who was he and I were the last ones, I guess the last ones to fall. He found out then that he was diabetic, and he started on metformin and diabetic medicine. And that's kind of between the seatbelt and him becoming diabetic. I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to be there. So again, that's what kind of drove me into coaching. So how about you, Amber?
So I taught for 18 years elementary school.
You're a saint.
Yeah.
Thanks. Taught, past tense. But that teaching and helping component never really left me. And when I heard about the certification, much like you guys were saying, it had such a powerful impact on me and who I am and who I see myself as, that I really wanted to use my teaching skills to share it with others, to really help others become the healthiest version of themselves. And as I've dug into more mindset and more serving as a coach, I've realized that the 10-year-old girl that I used to be, that started dieting, that led me on a 4-decade journey of extreme dieting, is actually where that healing needs to start. And so if I can not only heal the inner child in people that are our age, but also help them to give that message to their actual children, then I feel like I'm really affecting change and helping heal that 10-year-old that was inside of me. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great thought.
it's definitely a calling for us.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely,
What an
for sure.
important time to reach women,
Yeah.
young women, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. So
And
how about outside of coaching then? What do you guys like to do in your free time?
oh, that's a good one. That's a good question. Free time. Free time.
Right.
When you're
What do you
building
do
a
for fun?
business.
I mean, not that this isn't fun, because I really think I
This is
enjoy
fun.
it so much.
Mhm.
It doesn't, it's not work for me.
Mhm.
It's coaching and I really enjoy it. But what do you guys do, like, when you have a few moments?
I sing in a choir.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
we have a community show choir. So we sing, we do choreography. It's kind of like the show choirs that you had in high school, but we're a lot older. And I've been in for about 22 years, and
wow.
it just it feeds my need to sing and perform and just lifts me up.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
I love it.
How about you, Elaine?
I love to travel. We've been almost all over the world. There's probably still half the world to see. But my husband and I love to travel. He's recently retired from the military, so we have, a little bit more freedom with his schedule. So I love to experience new cultures and sit in cafes on the sidewalk and watch people. And I love eating new foods. And what's fun is that you can eat, PSC everywhere, because everybody has proteins, fats, and carbs on the menu. So it's not like I have to go off a diet to travel. So it's really nice to live this lifestyle and be able to travel. And then the other thing that I love about this lifestyle is, now that I'm doing weights, one of my weight exercises is lifting something heavy over my head so I can put things into the overhead bin.
Okay. Yeah.
Functional training, but yeah.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. Have to do that for sure.
What about you, Elaine?
For me, I have 3 grandsons. So unfortunately, 2 of them do not live close, but one does. So we like to spend as much time with them as we can. And then my other passion is quilting. I love to take fabric and cut it all up and then put it all back together and see what comes out. So I have been quilting for so many years. I can't even count anymore. I go to a quilting retreat at least twice a year, where I spend whatever that time frame is, either the week or the weekend, and up until 2, 3 in the morning, and to see what we can create. So that's kind of where my passions lie.
Fun,
So,
fun. Okay, I have a hot round for us.
oh,
Okay, it's just a real quick. You don't even need to have an explanation for it, but the myth about diets that you would love to see disappear. I'll go first since I asked the question. I kind of have the answer because you guys look like you're thinking. So for me, it's fasting, because like I used to not even eat until 11 or 12, mid-morning, lunchtime. And in hindsight, I found that for me, so for some people, fasting might work, but for me, it totally just slowed down my metabolism to nothing, and I was never hungry. So
yeah, that's a big one. I think for me is the fact that you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Elaine, is that in order to go on vacation, you have to go off your diet. You do not have to go off your diet. And I can tell you, one of my clients, actually, I was on a call last night, just went to Nashville for the weekend. And they're like, it was so easy. Everywhere we went, we were able to do protein, fats, and carbs. So they didn't have to go off of anything because it was their lifestyle. So the fact that you have to go off or even have a diet, what we have is a lifestyle. So I guess it's a double myth. It's the myth that you have to go off a diet to go on vacation, and it's the myth that you have to have a diet.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I would say the big one for me is that caloric deprivation, eat less, move more.
Ooh.
Right.
Yes.
Nothing, as we have learned, thrives in a deficit. And the scary part is that the majority of doctors and dietitians and nutritionists out there and health coaches are teaching caloric deprivation.
Right.
And
that you have to push through hunger. You have to ignore it. When
it was amazing how many apps I could get rid of off my phone when I found this, the counting calories, the points, all of that. We don't have to do any of that. So
not at all. I haven't counted a calorie in well over a year.
Yeah, exactly.
The other day I was going through my office and I found 3 notebooks that were filled with what I ate day after day after day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. When
I remember those days.
Yeah. And I'm like, don't need these anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that so freeing?
It is.
Isn't that just liberating?
It really was. So, well, I think that's our time for today, don't you guys think?
So I hope you guys got to know us a little bit more.
Put your comments down below if you have questions about us or about what we do, and we will be here in another couple weeks. Do you have any parting words for us, Amber?
I was just going to say that next time we're going to start diving into blood sugar stabilization, what that actually is, what it looks like, and what it looks like in your life, which is really the foundation of what we've been talking about. And then also diving into some mindset and really just being a safe space where people can come learn about health, ask questions, and feel included.
Yeah, we're here for you.
That's right.
We'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.